So thank you very, very much. It's a great pleasure to be here presenting in front of you. My name is Ben Libberton and I'm from Karolinska institutet. And given the nature of today, I just want to kind of re-say that it's you're free to tweet and share this as much as you like. So I'm a researcher. This is what I look at every day. Every working day I go into the lab and I do experiments. But where I actually work in the Karolinska, I'm part of a centre called the Swedish Medical Nanoscience Centre, and I have a second role there, which is a public information officer. I'm responsible for making sure that the work that we do, that the research that we do, can be translated and can be understood by journalists and by the public, and so that they can basically understand it and they can take advantage of the work that we're doing. And as I've been going through that process of trying to translate the work, we've had the good fortune of had interest from places like these. This all came about, my whole role there came about because we realized that the old way of publishing wasn't really working very well for us, and that was you click a submit button for an article, for a manuscript, and you send it out, and you could be sure that the right people would read it, that it would get into the right hands. Today that doesn't work so well because studies have kind of estimated that the research output from the global research population has basically doubled every year since the end of the Second World War. And that means that today we are inundated with information and it's really, really difficult to stand out from the crowd. And that can be a disaster for a researcher because it can mean that you can publish your very, very important research, but it doesn't get noticed. Nobody reads it, nobody understands it, nobody can give you feedback, and we don't know if what we're doing is important or not. So today, we consider that the scientific publication is actually only half of the job, like a unbaked cake. The second half is promoting it. We must promote our scientific research. And there are a lot of different tools that you can use for doing that, but I'm going to talk about one particularly that I've used very, very effectively in my role as the public information officer, and that is Twitter. Now, Twitter is an amazing tool for researchers to communicate their research. We heard a little bit about altmetrics before, and Twitter is very important for that. But the point is this: journalists, journal editors, and potential collaborators for scientists are all already using Twitter. They're on there and they're having conversations. And so what I do in my role is I go into Twitter and I try and have conversations with people who are important to me for my research, but I talk to them about things that they are interested in, that we have interests in common. And what that means is, over time, by spending a little time here, a little time there, when you're waiting for a bus, when you have a coffee break or something like that, by engaging with people on Twitter, you start to build up a network, you start to build up connections of people who are already interested in what you are doing. And ultimately, that'll mean that when you want to promote something, when you have something that you want to say and you want to tell the world, you'll already have a network that is ready and waiting to hear from you. And an example of what I mean by that and why it's so important to get started now is that with a very, very small Twitter following, I hadn't been doing this very long, I had a following of just over 100 people, which is very small really. But I went to a conference and I was the only person live tweeting it, and the tweets from that conference, bearing in mind there are about 150 people registered, were seen over 40,000 times. So that didn't come from having a huge following. If I had 40,000 followers, then fine. But this was from having just over 100 followers who I had spent time, little and often, building up relationships with, so they were interested in what I had to say. I want to say thank you to you all for listening. I would like, if you check out my different social media profiles there on Twitter and Instagram, and if you go to my website with the /VetFest, there's a little gift for you on how to construct tweets that will get good engagement from your Twitter followers. Thank you very, very much.
Tack så hemskt mycket.